Hello and welcome to my review of the Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter box set review. This is just the box set cover with Jenny on the front, Anood there, Noah and the robot character. The new Doctor Who logo there as well, from the world of Doctor Who. Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter, Big Finish, We Love Stories, Georgia Tennant. Then on the spine of sorts, it's the same sort of information, one there, presumably because they're going to do more box sets. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, if they will, but Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter, starring Georgia Tennant, bio thing. If you want to pause the video now to read that, can do. As well as the episode titles, as well as the writer and who it's directed by, and normally where all of the CDs would be. But unlike, say, the Gallifrey box set, this one's done in a much more traditional way of actually having each release be a single CD release. You know, whereas the Gallifrey Time War box set, Volume 1 of that had all of them be like one big sort of plastic sort of release of sorts, and then opened that up and it had like multi discs in there, but this one's more traditional of having just 4 separate CDs. So yeah, this is the cover for the first story, Stolen Goods, by Matt Fitton. You've got the Doctor's Daughter there, Noah, Cult 5000 I think it was called, as well as the Frog Dude, and then on the back you've got the spine, or the legal information, even bio of the story, as well as the sort of cover design in the top corner, as well as the sort of disc, the cover printed on the disc, as well as writer's notes and who's in that story and whatnot. I'll quickly go over in more detail the stories after I've just gone through the covers really quickly. Jenny's there, Ood, one of the characters in the neighbourhood in the sort of story, and Noah, can't remember her name even, but you've got this nice green sort of variant of a cover, whereas the other one was very blue. Personally, my favourite cover, or cover that I like the most even, which is Neo Region, where you've got Jenny there, this woman, but then you've got this badass dragon breathing fire in the background in this purple design. Really think that's really cool and suits the setting of that story. This cover even, is growing on me the more I sort of look at it. It's very simplistic, but it reminds me a lot of X and the Daleks from the first Dark Eyes box set. But yeah, and it's very simplistic, but very effective, I think. So, but yeah. That one also, because it's the last story, also features the behind the scenes bonus content and thing, as well as the actual story. Each story is an hour long as well, even though whether or not I think they should be an hour long is another thing, but yeah. Firstly, we've got Stolen Goods. Bearing in mind this week has been fairly intense at college, so I've tried to for the past week, every time I've got home, pretty much listen to one episode of this box set for the week sort of just gone of sorts, or this week even. But yeah, what was I going to say? Like how I did with the Time War, Gallifrey Time War box set, but the difference being this one hasn't been as easy to do that, because again, I've been fairly stressed out, and yeah. So that basically what I'm saying is, maybe if I re-listen to quite a few of these, maybe my thoughts on them might change over time, but as of this recording, I really don't particularly like Stolen Goods. It's not a very good opener. It's very, very weak, if you ask me. So weak a story, and just vanilla a story that I could easily see it being the weakest and lowest rated sort of Big Finish audio that I've listened to so far in my collection, being at a 5 out of 10, which really isn't good. Basically, the only real premise to this is that it's basically, instead of like a car insurance sort of scam of sorts, it's like that, but with spaceships, and Jenny almost gets sort of wrapped up into one of those. They introduce Noah all of a sudden, and he just sort of comes out of this ship, literally of sorts, and then the Cult 5000 is really the only overall story arc type thing, connecting all of these stories together, and I don't know, I feel like Jenny works better with Noah and against someone, to bounce off of, because she's got a lot of energy, but then it's very weird because there's just this section where she just becomes Doctor, like, all of a sudden, and I didn't really see why, like, up until that point, she felt more like herself, and then she just randomly turned into the Doctor almost. I really didn't care for the frog-type character, and some of the side characters. The sort of world was sort of just dull and not that interesting, and that's why I just gave it a 5 out of 10. It just felt meh, it just felt okay, like, nothing was awful, but nothing was excruciatingly interesting, or, nothing was amazingly cliffhanger-esque or phenomenal, but nothing was so bad, like, say, I don't know, Hellbent or Delta and the Bannerman, or, and that, but the second story in this box set is Prisoner of the Ood by John Dorney. The first story, bearing in mind, was by Matt Fitton, who has a decent track record of doing good stories. But yeah, John Dorney wrote Prisoner of the Ood. Now, this one did really intrigue me because I predominantly bought this box set for the Doctor's daughter, as well as or Jenny, as well as the Ood, to be honest, because this is the first time they've appeared in Big Finish. Last time I've checked, I don't think they've ever been in any other Big Finish audio besides this one. Although they're kind of used sort of differently here than, say, that of their TV counterpart, it kind of works. It's as a one-off, I think, and considering they're not the original big bad in this story, I think it works well. Noah and Jenny are separated, however, Jenny does immediately have other characters to bounce off of again, still, so that's good. However, this story does feel a bit sort of, where that one was way too basic and sort of just lackluster and just sort of very box standard, this one feels a bit too sort of like it's trying to to be a bit more sort of convoluted, or a bit more like sort of, for lack of a better term, timey-wimey with some of its elements, when actually all it's doing is withdrawing information from the audience and or listener, even until the latter end-ish, and that of telling you what things are, and that, like, Jenny forgets stuff and then remembers some stuff and this and that. The Ood are phenomenal in this, though. They are really cool bad guys, as is the other bad guy, the main bad guy in this, and that. It's sort of built around this sort of rural, sort of suburbia-y, sort of just boring sort of, little sort of place, like just a normal sort of place anywhere in England sort of thing, just box standard, like, like your typical neighbourhood sort of thing, and that, and I think that I actually like it more because of that. Like, it's so can't say the word, pedestrian even, and that in where it's set, that it actually adds another layer to it, as well as with the characters. It feels like a Russell T Davies story, to be honest, which is probably the biggest compliment I can give this story. However, Noah and Jenny are separated, which works here quite a bit because obviously they've only just been introduced in the last story. So yeah, overall I gave this one an 8 out of 10, one of the stronger episodes in this box set. Then we move on to episode 3, Neo Region. a story that I like the concept for. I just think the execution wasn't as good, and I think overall with this box set, I've often found myself being invested in a scene or two or a bit of it and then falling out a little bit, because there seems to be a lot of exposition for things that are very sort of either obvious or just not that, like convoluted or complex. Like, it's difficult to sort of describe really what I mean, but as I say, this one has some decent ideas, and I really like the contrast between Prisoner of the Ood being so mundane and pedestrian, to then go to somewhere more futuristic and set in sort of a Blade Runner-esque sort of setting, and that. She has like a vortex manipulator as well, and last time I checked, I think the Cult 5000 is the Cult 5000, the robot bounty hunter sort of character, does appear in this one towards the latter end. Both Jenny and Noah rejoice back and or join back up in the latter end of that story, to then be with each other a bit here and split off sort of thing. It has some dark-ish sort of themes, I guess. Some stuff about drugs, some stuff about misogynistic stuff and that, about women and rights and this and that, and just some okay things, but I don't know, it felt kind of mixed, really. Sort of, it didn't quite hit the mark, really, which is a shame. So for that one, I gave that a 7 out of 10. Lastly, we have Zero Space, even. Really, really enjoyed this one. It's probably the one that I enjoyed the most out of the 4 episodes. It has the most intense sort of ness, or like overall with the box set, I didn't feel like there was that much intensity. Like every time there was like a certain thing of like a threat, I always felt like the situation would immediately get diffused, but this one felt more threatening and that, and had bigger stakes, I guess. Seeing as it's the last story, they really ramped things up as much as they could. There's an amazing cameo from a certain character in the latter end and all the last bit of this, which blew me away. Literally, my jaw was on the floor, and that. So and the fact that they kept that secret was epic and cool. I won't spoil it here. There's a lot of parallels between this and The Doctor's Daughter, the episode, and how Jenny's a clone, and it really shows, or they delve a bit deeper into how that could affect a person, and how she might be linked to the Doctor and that, as a character, maybe not, I don't know, but they toy around with that idea and that concept, and I really think it's cool. And they keep asking the question of whether or not she'd just try and find her father and or the Doctor, but as she says, she's got more of the universe to explore, and she's much like her own father. She is like very sort of if we'll meet sort of thing. Like, she doesn't see the sort of the reason as to why she should just have to try and find him. She didn't think it's as necessary as clearly Noah thought it was, and that. The Cult 5000, as I say, is okay, or is okay as a threat here, because I guess we've had the character trying to hunt down Jenny for quite some time. So, but it was okay, I guess. But then I think they get destroyed. I can't remember actually. They may have left that up as to whether or not the Cult 5000 had been destroyed. But however, the side characters were really great. and the music in this one was really good as well. That might have just been the fact that I was listening to this on my laptop with my headphones, so that might have helped. But overall, I gave this one, episode 0 Space, a 9 out of 10. And I think both Neo Region and Zero Space were written by two Big Finish regulars, so yeah. So overall, I would give this box set a 29 out of 40. It's technically, by that logic, I guess, of sorts, it's 1 point off what I gave the Gallifrey Time War box set. I'll be honest, that one was a lot stronger. It had a lot more stronger sort of just overall theme and tone to it, whereas this one unfortunately doesn't. I think it felt very, for lack of a better term, higgledy-piggledy, and you know, I think the best way of describing this, and this isn't knocking ideally the box set, I hope not, but if you are to purchase this, I would strongly say, if you're a big fan of, say, the Sarah Jane Adventures, then yeah, by all means pick this one up. If not, though, then this one would probably be a skip for you. I think Jenny is a good character. I just don't feel like they even really did much with her character, really. I never felt like she evolved or changed or learnt much. Like, she learns things here and there, maybe, but I don't really feel like there was any real sort of aftermath of, you know, like, if she's in a situation of sorts, like, I don't feel like she learnt anything, or at least it wasn't clear to me anyway, and I can't tell if that's the writing or just generally my mood going into these stories, or what, or a combination of the two, or what really, but either way, I just feel like she wasn't as developed as she could be, and that, like, she has some action sequences and then mentions about how she shouldn't really be sort of fighting people and that, and stuff, but here and there, but you know, she never really tries to do anything too intellectual either, like the Doctor, though, but then she's never upset or anything, and she's always sort of really optimistic and upbeat, which isn't bad, and that is very her character anyway, so I'm not saying that the Big Finish people, or the people at Big Finish should have written her completely different to how she was in the TV show, but surely we need an evolution of the character, like how they added more layers and evolved and deepened the character of, say, the War Doctor with the War Doctor trilogies, or yeah, like box sets even, whereas this just doesn't feel like it happened as much as with, say, that character, and that's a shame. But then again, if they do a second one, then they could always try again. Maybe if they do a second one, that is, I don't even know if they are. It's probably dependent on whether or not these box sets, or this box set's old enough, so. But it's awesome, though, that Georgia even, Georgia Tennant reprised the role, and that's awesome, and I am grateful for her and all of the people who made it. It's just, it's not as strong as it could be, and as good as it could be, and that sort of annoys me. I think the first episode was really poor, second one, Prisoner of the Ood, really good, and Neo Region, and then Zero Space really picked it up for me. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Please do feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and all that funky jazz. Goodbye.